ready to go. So make sure you know the terms autonomy, non-malfeasance, beneficence, and justice. Know what assault and battery is, and also torts. What is a tort? There's a couple of true or false questions which you'll need to be aware of. Make sure you know about being informed of potential risk for treatment. Also know about standard of care. What does standard of care mean? Further, make sure you know what duty, dereliction of duty, direct cause, and damages mean. And remember, you can pause this video if you want to go backwards, or if I'm speaking too fast. I'm trying to go through it as quick as possible so you can not have to sit here for too long reviewing this. So make sure you know what state laws is in comparison to federal laws, which come first. Know what the difference between job roles are. So a physician's job role is different than an attorney, is different than a patient. Of course, know what the differences in those things are. Know about JACO. What does JACO mean? What does JACO do? What is utilitarianism? What is duty-based, rights-based, and justice-based ethics? So know what ethics in general is. Know what assault and battery, the difference between assault and battery is. Also know about, let's see here, informed consent, implied consent. What's the difference between informed and implied consent? Further, make sure you know about kind of OSHA regulations. You don't have to know the specific regulations, but what does OSHA do and how does it help you in regards to a company, of course. Know what the medical record is. Know about medical record ideals. You know there's a chapter that focuses on this, so make sure you review medical record. Let's see. We've already talked about torts. Know what a tort is. Know what the Good Samaritan law is. A living will. What is it meant to do? A living will. Know about, of course, I mentioned OSHA regulations. There's a couple of questions on that. HIPAA. What is HIPAA? What does it stand for? What is its purpose? Know about ethical standards and how do we apply those in the workplace or in healthcare in general. Know about contracts and medical malpractice. What are the difference between the two and what do they mean? We already talked about Good Samaritan laws, right? Know about negligence, all the different types of negligence that we studied. Know what COBRA is? FLSA and the Fair Standards Act of 1938. Make sure you realize and know what those are because we've studied those as well. Let's see what else we have in the final. A lot of the same questions that you've seen before, and a lot can be worded differently. Know what fraud is. Make sure you're aware of fraud and its direction. We've already talked about consent, implied, informed consent. What about arbitration, malpractice lawsuit, mediation? Know what those are. Litigation, you should know what that means. Subpoena, acquittal, those type of words. We already mentioned OSHA. Let's see, the ethics we've already mentioned as well. As you can tell, there's a couple of questions regarding that. Know what the ADA is. The Americans with Disabilities Act. What does it do and what did it protect? How about defamation of character? How does that work in healthcare settings? We've already talked about all that, standard of care and such. How about when a patient's record can be released? Who has that call and how can it be released? What about the Civil Rights Act of 1964, a big piece of legislation? What does it do? What does it protect? How about during emergency? What do you do during an emergency? How is it different from the legal process in regards to when you have to ask for consent? How does that work in an emergency? Let's see what else. Not very much more. There's quite a bit of questions on this. We're looking at about 75 questions, so be sure you know your material. Majority of people do really well because a lot of the questions are things you've seen before. Know about proximate cause. That's another thing you should know about. Proximate cause, what does it stand for? What does it consist of? What is proximate cause? And that is it. It is not quite 75 questions. We're right at 68 total. So be sure to take your time. Make sure you're ready to go. When you take the test, of course, concentrate on the material that you've already learned. Review the chapters, review the PowerPoints, review the videos, and you should be good to go. I'm really looking forward to looking at these grades because I think they're going to be great. On top of that, it's been an excellent semester, and I appreciate all the effort that you've put into it. If you need anything in the meantime,